In the heart of Los Angeles, one of the most infamous unsolved murders in history still haunts us: the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short, a young woman with a troubled past, was found mutilated in a vacant lot, her body severed at the waist and her face disfigured into a grotesque grin. This gruesome crime rocked the city and continues to captivate true crime enthusiasts, spawning theories and speculation that have lasted for over 70 years. In this video, we'll dive deep into the theories, suspects, and lasting mysteries surrounding the Black Dahlia murder. Stick around to the end, where we'll explore the new evidence that may bring us closer to solving this chilling case. January 15, 1947, the mutilated body of Elizabeth Short was discovered in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. Her body was cut in half at the waist, and her face was slashed into a grotesque smile. The police found her body early in the morning, and the crime scene was unlike any they had seen before. There were no fingerprints, no clues that could directly lead to the killer. Elizabeth Short had been missing for 6 days before her body was found, and her death became one of the most publicized unsolved murders in U.S. history. Born in Boston in 1924, Elizabeth Short had moved to California in hopes of pursuing an acting career. She was a young woman full of dreams and ambition, but her life ended in a brutal and violent manner. The police had no idea who could have committed such a heinous crime. There was no sign of a struggle, and she had no known enemies. The case immediately attracted intense media attention, and soon, the investigation began to focus on a variety of leads. The LAPD initially considered several suspects. At first, it was believed that Elizabeth Short had been killed by someone close to her, possibly a lover. But after interviewing her friends, acquaintances, and past boyfriends, investigators quickly realized that she didn't have any strong connections to the area, and nothing about her life pointed to a clear motive. This led the investigation in a new direction. One of the first major suspects was a man named George Hodel, a physician with a dark past. He had a reputation for being a womanizer, and there were rumors that he had been involved with young women, including Elizabeth Short. The police initially questioned him, but there was no concrete evidence to link him to the crime. However, this would not be the last time that George Hodel's name came up in connection to the Black Dahlia murder. As the case grew colder, a new theory emerged. Was Elizabeth Short murdered by someone connected to the dark side of Hollywood? Some believed that she was a victim of the powerful, a corrupt industry that had chewed up and spit out so many aspiring actresses before her. Was she an innocent bystander, a woman caught in the web of a dangerous, seedy underworld of fame and fortune? Elizabeth Short had spent time in Hollywood, but she didn't have any significant connections in the industry. Yet some theorists believe she was murdered because she knew too much about the corrupt dealings of certain Hollywood elites. The idea that she had been silenced to protect the secrets of powerful men gained traction over the years, as some suggested that her murder was a result of a cover-up. But was Hollywood really involved, or was this just speculation? The Hodel theory has endured for decades. It claims George Hodel, a Los Angeles physician, was the Black Dahlia killer. The theory was reignited by Steve Hodel's and George's son, published a book in 2003, claiming that his father had committed the Black Dahlia murder. Steve's suspicions grew over the years as he investigated his father's life, including his disturbing relationships with young women. George Hodel was a man with many secrets. He had a history of making unsettling statements about his involvement in unsolved crimes, including the Black Dahlia murder. Some believe that Hodel was an intelligent and cold-blooded killer who used his position of power to evade detection. His wealth, access to the medical community, and ability to manipulate those around him made him a strong suspect in the case. In addition to Steve Hodel's accusations, some key pieces of evidence seem to suggest George's involvement. For example, the location where Elizabeth Short's body was discovered was near his former medical office. There were also reports of George's suspicious behavior, such as burning his belongings shortly after the murder, and a disturbing letter he sent to the police. However, the LAPD never had enough evidence to charge George Hodel, and the case remains open. While George Hodel remains one of the most prominent suspects, there are many other theories and suspects to consider. Some people believe the murder was committed by a person who had a deep personal connection to Elizabeth, perhaps a rejected love of her or a troubled acquaintance. Others speculate that the murder could have been the work of a serial killer, as there were similarities to other unsolved cases around Los Angeles at the time. Another theory involves a man named Robert Manley, who was the last person known to have seen Elizabeth alive. Some believe that Manley, a married man, may have been involved in Elizabeth's murder, but there was no concrete proof linking him to the crime. Another suspect, Jack Anderson, a local handyman, was also investigated but cleared of any wrongdoing. Yet another theory suggests that the Black Dahlia murder could be tied to a group of people rather than a single individual. Some believe that Elizabeth Short was killed as part of a ritualistic killing or by a group with a sinister motive. This theory has been bolstered by the gruesome nature of the crime and the idea that the killers had knowledge of medical procedures. Throughout the investigation, the LAPD struggled to find concrete evidence. They received hundreds of tips, but most were false leads. Extensive interviews and suspect investigations led nowhere. The case went cold. The police even resorted to using the media to try to coax the killer into confessing, releasing details about the crime and asking for tips from the public. But no breakthrough ever came. For years, the case stagnated, leaving only rumors and wild speculation in its wake. In recent years, new forensic techniques, including DNA testing and modern investigative methods, have reignited interest in the Black Dahlia case. While DNA testing hasn't conclusively linked any of the suspects to the crime, it has opened new doors for potential leads. Some investigators believe that new technological advancements might bring the case closer to closure, while others argue that the truth may forever remain elusive. The theory that George Hodel was the murderer has resurfaced, as new evidence continues to surface. But with no clear answers in sight, the Black Dahlia murder remains one of the most haunting cold cases in history. Can we ever solve the mystery? The Black Dahlia murder is a case that will likely never be fully solved. But that hasn't stopped generations of detectives, theorists, and enthusiasts from continuing to search for answers. Each new theory, piece of evidence, a fresh perspective brings us closer to the truth, yet it always seems just out of reach. What do you think happened to Elizabeth Short? Could it have been George Hodel, someone else, or a group of people? Let us know in the comments. If you found this video fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. To stay updated on more true crime mysteries, share your thoughts on the Black Dahlia case in the comments. Check out our other videos for more chilling unsolved cases. Stay vigilant. Remember, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.